Idaho 4 is why we're here, Alicia. And I don't know if you got a chance to check out that new Michael Addario video. He's got that series Blow Up Moscow,
Mm-hmm.
and he's done multi parts. I think this is part 14, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
14 or 16. I did
Yeah,
watch it real quick.
yeah.
You'll
What
have to
did you
refresh
think of
my
that?
memory.
His videos are cool because
They
you know
are.
he's a photographer, so he's obviously got a great eye for that side of it, and they're always very cool, very professionally done, and he uses an AI voice, but he writes the lines, and he's very good at it. And they're short videos, like very short, like 5-6 minutes long,
Yep.
but they're great and they really pack a punch. And this one was about the lack of red stuff in the common areas, like the hallways. And
Mm-hmm.
I know we kind of touch on this now and then, but just specifically on that, because that's what Michael's video is about.
Yep.
Uh, Called "There Will Be Blood," I think it's called. Uh, and so, what do you think about the lack of
The lack
blood
of
in
a
the
track
common?
a
Yeah.
track of footprints. Like I think he referenced the O.J. Simpson case where you saw
Yes,
the
he shows
footprints
it
leaving.
side by side, actually. He
Yeah,
shows
yeah,
the hallway to Xana's room
yeah.
and the OJ walkway side by side, and it's like, yeah, that definitely looks like somebody cleaned that up.
Well, yeah,
What else could
definitely
it be? I mean, there's no way, right?
right. And then I mean there would have been red snow on top of that. So,
It would have been everywhere,
yeah,
and like
yeah.
you said, in the snow. If somebody really just came in there and did that, and I know that they were making these claims of 12 minutes, 9 minutes. You've heard a million different versions of it, but
Let's just say
nonetheless,
30 minutes. It's still
yeah, it's a
yeah.
lot to handle unless they all just laid there and waited for him to show up in their room.
But
Because
that doesn't
as
just
soon as somebody starts screaming, the whole house is going to wake up. I'm wondering if they were given something to go to sleep. I've wondered that to make them so. I mean, I know they were drunk, and I know that Xana and Ethan had some amphetamines in their system, but I
maybe
just
the
wonder.
yeah, maybe the girls, but there's too much evidence that Ethan was up fighting.
True, that's
And
true.
I mean, just they say it's arterial spray way up on the wall. He had to have been standing up or on his knees.
Yeah,
I
or up
haven't
on his
measured.
elbow. I think they set up on an
Right.
elbow as big as he was,
Some,
6'4".
yeah.
He's a big dude. So
So he was upright at some point. Some were close to or leaning on that wall. And
right.
so maybe they did make the girls pass out and that was easier, but yeah, it doesn't explain all the cleanup time, you know.
No, it
So
doesn't.
there's
It
no
doesn't.
way. And what did he bring in a bucket and a mop?
Exactly. I mean, if
I
you're
mean,
going to
come on.
entertain the thought of a 12-minute, 4 victims, I'm not buying that. But if I were to buy that, I'm sure as hell not factoring in busting out Mr. Clean in a mop bucket and, doing your thing to,
I mean, did he have an
jamming some
entourage
tunes.
of a
Was,
cleanup crew that came in behind
I
him
know,
and
was he listening to like death metal where he was like frantic? I don't know. I don't know, but it's silly, right? We're laughing because it's so absurd.
it is.
So there's obviously a cleanup. And then I always get this in the comments of why would they have cleaned up? What would have been the reason? And I think you and I, because we both agree on this subject, would both say that it was to cover their tracks or remove their tracks, I should say,
Mhm.
because they would have been all in it. I know in Michael's video, the one I mentioned, and I'll link to that in the description for you on the replay. Um, that video is it shows the scene in Xana's room. It talks a lot about Ethan and that Sergeant Gunderson in his report said when he saw the body there, he assumed it was Ethan, but he couldn't see the head. And then he goes on to say he assumed it was against the wall and, at the edge of the mattress, kind of almost in the corner. But he doesn't say that. You may just assume that. And I'm assuming maybe the worst, which is that's what all that mess was underneath his
Hmm.
bed, was his head really was removed, or
Yeah.
maybe nearly removed, something very vicious like that, because that's an odd thing to say unless you're going to make it clear of what exactly you mean by that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because
Um,
there, I mean, there was so much blood right there that it seeped to the outside of the house.
right.
And I
That's a
mean,
lot of blood. I'll admit that's a significant thing for sure.
that's gotta be pretty much all I looked it up, and I don't remember if it's around a gallon or 1.2 gallons or so that a person has. So, I mean,
Oh,
imagine spilling a gallon of fluid right there.
right. And
And
that
so,
house was put together like garbage. There were spots where I
yep,
saw the
hardcore, yeah.
walls, the 2x4s that made up the walls were like an inch above the floors, or like, why don't you make
Wow.
it flush, so you got all kinds of, so if that blood got down there, it would have had an easy avenue to get outside.
Yeah.
But I didn't see any of that in Xana's room. There were spots when I went through the photos that I noticed that's odd to see a gap. You would normally cover it with like some kind of molding or something, or
Unless
cove
they just
base,
didn't care because it was a student's
college kids.
house and
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, it was
but
just built like crap. And that's why the idea of them not hearing all of that,
I've
Dylan
lived
and
in
Bethany, I mean, come on.
duplexes. I've lived in duplexes, and I'm sorry, but the room on the other side of that wall, you can hear that. You can hear, I one duplex, I could hear the lady on her cell phone when she was on speakerphone, and I was just like,
Wow.
and I tried to tell her, but she didn't care, and I don't wanna hear your phone calls, when I was in this one
Right.
room by the closet, it was like she was sitting right there with me, and I was like, I mean,
Oh, wow.
and so you can hear, yeah, and they've said more than one person said you could hear everything in that house, so
I just had an interesting experience here just as you were speaking there. And this is a live, I don't think a podcaster or a YouTuber's ever had this happen in a live, but my ankle was like itchy and I was going to scratch it with my leg, and I went to scratch it and it was my prosthetic. So the whole phantom pain thing is real, but most of mine are like itchy, or I feel like the neuropathy pain that I had in my foot before it happened. So that's about it. Not like shooting pains or anything, but yeah, I feel it still, that there feels like there's something bothering my ankle, but there's no
how
ankle.
funny.
So,
Well, I
so
mean,
live,
the
phantom
brains,
pains.
yeah,
It thinks it's there. It
yeah,
thinks it's
yeah,
there.
yeah,
Especially
sure.
with the prosthetic on, I would think it's even more so because it feels
That's
the connection. Michael's video is interesting,
yes.
with that whole topic. So if if something that you like, I might see about getting Michael on maybe next week or whenever he's free to talk about it. And he's always a lot of fun for a Idaho 4 discussion. We could even have him on, both of you guys. That would be cool,
Oh, that would be cool.
to
You
have
guys
him on.
go check him out. I was surprised he still doesn't have a lot of subscribers. So,
I
um,
know, I
yeah.
know, and I don't have his, link right here handy to drop on, but, I could make one here real quick, but, no, I don't wanna do it live because it's gonna hang on, let me get out of
He's
that.
kind of like my videos, straight to the point. Here's some facts. Here's whatever. And, you know, so, and
Right.
sometimes you have to use an AI voice because not everybody
Yeah,
has a great voice like you, Pete.
well, that yeah, I mean, I'm definitely, you know, thankful that I've got, a voice that, I could do, like the audiobooks and stuff. A lot of authors
Yes.
can't do those
Yeah, that's awesome.
themselves. And I can do the recording part of it. And I've got this really good software that I use and makes it easier. So, but I
That's
hate it. It's the worst thing I've
oh,
ever
really?
done. It's so tedious reading stories. I mean, even
That's
my
true.
own stories, I obviously I know what happens, but it is cool though to hear it spoken out loud because all the time it's been in my head. And so to actually read it is interesting, but yeah, so I'm going to be doing an audio book of the At Death's Door when it's finished. So that's the book that I wrote about my experience with necrotizing fasciitis
Yeah.
and losing a leg. So there'll be that. All right. Well, let's see here. I did want to talk a little bit more, Alicia, about our friend Hunter Johnson.
Oh, yeah, Hunter.
We were talking about him last week and we did the side by side with the knife. I know you did a video on
Yeah,
your channel. I'll try to get a link into that so these guys can
sure.
check that in the description. But yeah, that's hard to refute. I mean, those are not the same knives.
They're not. I did look it up. That is a paring knife that he had, which is pointed on each edge. And
Right,
what they have in the evidence photos is a steak knife, which they kept saying steak knife, steak knife, steak knife. So
right.
they're trying to erase what we've caught on the body cam. And
Mm-hmm.
and also if you notice the discoloration, it sure does look like something was on there that's oxidized, like red fluid. So
Yeah, I
if it came
agree.
out of it if it came out of a kitchen, I wouldn't think that would be rust, and that's the only other thing I could think of that would make it that kind of a reddish dark color. But if it came out of the kitchen with that other knife that looks somewhat clean, maybe has cheese stain on it, like you said. But, yeah, something has oxidized on that, and I don't think it's rust. So
Yeah.
so
I
why
did.
why did why didn't they I mean, they've gotta be covering for Hunter
It's
because they
so
didn't take it,
obvious.
they didn't test it.
Yep.
They
No,
looked
it
right
never got
at it.
tested.
Yeah, they
Yep.
looked right at it when they walked by. You see that cop
That's
look?
right.
I
And
screenshot
they
it and boom, and he
hmm
just and, I mean, I Hunter, the homeboy or not, the police said, "Hey, homeboy,"
right.
homeboy or not, I think Hunter knows he kinda effed up and went a little too far, did something he can't get because he was standing there and he was like, "Well, I just put that you know, point to the knife."
hmm
I think he was
Yep.
ready to get cuffed,
Very
honestly.
fidgety, very fidgety.
Yeah.
Like I said last week, I'm shocked he wasn't. I want to answer this person real quick.
Oh, yeah.
So I didn't want to lose this one. What
Okay.
software are you using? I need to start
Oh,
recording audio for work. Um, I'd use right now. I'm using Riverside. I'm going to have an affiliate link in my descriptions, hopefully this week. And if you use that, you get $30 off your subscription. It's a really good program. It's real easy to use. It's video and audio, so you could, use it for whatever, but the quality is good. So if you get a decent microphone and a decent laptop, you'll be good to go with that. They got pretty low prices. You might be able to get some nearly free stuff. It depends what you're doing. So I hope that helps. I hope that helps. All right. Uh, Okay, so Hunter Johnson, my other issue with him, Alicia, is I did a video about Lynden,
yes.
and he is
Lynden Beck,
interviewed
I believe.
Lynden Beck,
Right.
that's right.
Yes.
And he was interviewed, I put air quotes around that, interviewed by MPD, and it's Mowry, Detective Mowry, who's their forensics person, if you want to call him that, but that's what his title is. And Mowry's talking to him very casually, like all these other ones that we've seen. It's like, buddies hanging out, chit chatting, no big deal, very low pressure. don't ask for his phone. Um, just, as cool could be. But meanwhile, this guy just got done telling you that he was awakened at 2 a.m. by what we don't know. You could only assume because he said, and then he said, while it was going on, or something to that effect.
When it happened, I think is what he
When
said.
it happened, yes. So it's like, okay, he just told you I woke up at 2 o'clock and we were awake when it happened and we stayed up until 5 and then I went back to bed. Kind of interesting that that's basically the time frame that I
Yeah,
think it did happen. And I
yeah,
don't think it took that long. I think that people were obviously doing some superficial cleanups of themselves. That's why I think that went on in the kitchen, which is why it's a friggin' mess in there. And that would have been a logical place to do it. I keep saying put plastic down. That gets slippery though with red stuff. That could be like a slip and slide. So maybe the plastic's not a good idea. But like a painter's tarp, I know those are not cheap, but still, put
yeah,
something like that down. And then this way you're not making the cleanup 100 times worse. Again, I'm thinking about my former line of work. And then, basically wash up in the sink, put a change of clothes on and go right out the slider. There's all kinds of red stuff right outside the slide or inside the slider.
yeah,
Almost looks like a welcome mat of what we know was there. And it's even on the door jamb and the door itself. There was that fingerprint. I don't think I ever heard anything about whose fingerprint that was. You remember
yeah.
there was a fingerprint in
Yeah,
that
it
door frame.
probably wasn't tested, or if it was tested, they didn't let us know because it wasn't Brian's. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very damning thing. A fingerprint in red stuff on the door you said they came in and out of, or he, or whatever the hell you want to claim. I'm not buying it either. And you know damn well if it was Koberger's, that would have been better than the damn skin cell. That would have been some legit evidence.
Yeah.
So, but let's see. So yeah, Lynden Beck saying he woke up at 2, him and Hunter's girlfriend, Emily, and his girlfriend, who actually wasn't his girlfriend at the time. She was his, they just met.
Mhm.
And so he was sleeping with her like right out of the box. And then she posted this very strange picture of them like embracing with like a sunset kind of picture. And it said that my friends were being murdered and he it made him value life more, so he wanted to proceed with our relate. It was some very weird thing
That's
to
strange.
say. Yeah, my friends were murdered, and because of that, it made him realize life is short. I think that's what it was, and we decided to be a couple. It's like, huh?
Wow.
These people are just absolutely nuts. Laura
Um,
brings up a good idea here. I just saw
yeah,
this.
and then
Uh,
I have a
uh,
good point.
Rubber mats. That's a good one,
Oh,
Laura. Rubber mats would also make a good sense. That's a great idea. Yeah, like those ones schools use in the winter, they put it inside the hallway so that they're not getting salt and stuff all over the floor. It's like a rug, but it's real
mhm.
thin, but it's rubber based. Yeah, that's a good idea. Those wouldn't be that much. All right, we're sitting here discussing the prices of the supplies, but like I said, I used to do this. I used to order this stuff by pallets, so I had to know what stuff cost and what was the most efficient way. And these guys, if they're trying to clean up, now maybe they didn't care and they just were whatever. Somebody's cleaning this up, not me, and they just took off. Because I don't think the people that did this stuck around. I think they did this, they did their job, and they left. And then, you know, the second shift came in and picked up from where they left off and did the cleanup because there had to have been an orchestrated cleanup. We're talking 3 floors, basically. 3 floors. Now, the first floor slash basement, not a whole lot down there, but still, there was the stairwell, the stuff on the walls. And we
Yep.
don't know what that bathroom, I don't remember seeing, there's
I
only
was
like
gonna bring
one
that up.
picture.
I
There's
don't think
only
we have
one
any
picture.
pictures of any bathtubs, do we?
No, it's a stand-up shower, I think. It's like a
There's no bathtubs in the house?
no, I don't think so.
Wow, okay. That's
It
strange.
was remodeled when they added that 3rd floor, so they probably went through and as tough as the college kids are on stuff, I'm sure there are multiple, fixtures in this as
Yeah,
old as that house was, so hard telling what they did. But yeah, I mean, they all had what I saw were showers in them. I didn't see any tubs but maybe I'm wrong.
okay.
But
Well,
cleaning definitely happened,
I don't
you know.
remember seeing any in any pictures, so I thought maybe, that was where some things happened because they eliminated any pictures of bathtubs. So,
Right.
yeah. But,
Yeah, it's interesting that, you wonder, did they actually go take showers? I mean, you had a shower on each floor. You could have took a 15, 20-minute shower and really cleaned up at least decently
mhm,
and put on a change of clothes, and then you'd have been good to go if somebody stopped you outside. You know what I
yeah,
mean? But, you know, it's hard to say if you look at the different times. And if they were looking at 2 to 5, that would have given them ample time to all of them to take showers if there was
oh,
maybe
yeah,
3 or 4 of them. That's what I think. There's three or
yeah,
four at least.
yeah,
And then there was some group cheering them on. That's why I wonder if the frat boys were doing that. And I wonder if they took, this has always been my thought with the frat, as twisted as they are. I could see him taking the pledges there and making them see that so that they're all guilty. Nobody's going to talk because they were all there, kind of a
mhm,
thing. Like, we're all
yeah,
in. And that could have been where that, because there were spots in that audio, you hear like a lot of people, I think, like yelling and almost
oh, yeah.
singing at times. I've heard some people say it was singing, which
There's
is super
something.
weird.
Yeah.
But the frats are weird. I mean, they do some
Yeah, I
craziness.
watched a strange video, I think it was yesterday or today, and the cops came because a fire alarm was pulled, and they came and finally down in the basement, there was probably 20, 30 dudes just standing against the wall and standing against the post. Half of them were blindfolded. There was beer all over the floor. None of them would say anything when the cops kept asking them questions. And then this one dude
Hmm.
that had hardly any voice, he kept saying, "I don't know what's going on." We're all like in the chat. I was looking in the comments. It's obvious he's been yelling at these guys. And then
Right.
two other guys kept trying to block the cops from
Yeah,
saying
the
shit.
one
And I'm like,
I
you need to
saw that.
detain these people. What are you
Right.
doing? But eventually, the cop asked in front of the other guys, anybody hurt? And they all said no in unison, like a choir.
Yes. Like a
Anybody
cult.
here, anybody here unwillingly? And they all said no in unison. And it was creepy. And it was like,
Very creepy.
wow, wow. But somebody,
Yeah.
got to the fire alarm and alerted the police.
Hmm.
But right there, it's almost like a domestic violence situation. The girl's always going to say nothing happened when the dude's standing right there, you know?
Exactly.
But it's
Yeah. And I mean,
crazy.
they're not going to want to be the one guy to go, yeah, I was, beaten up or
Right.
whatever the heck was going
Because
on.
he's still going to school there. They all know who he is. Tomorrow night's
Y-
going to be a lot worse if you say something today, you know? But there
Yeah.
was
And
one,
that main guy that was being a jerk to the cop and blocking the door, they wind up interviewing him at his house. And then later it said that he wasn't even in the frat. So what the
oh,
heck
wow.
was he doing there? I'm thinking he was the party favor guy. Dr. Feelgood would be my guess.
Yeah.
And that's what he was going there to bring them some stuff. And he just happened to be there when the damn cops showed up and made it seem like he was part of the frat. But he
Hmm.
was a little older than them, but not like where it was really like, whoa,
Oh, they
who's
called
this
him
dude?
the house dad.
That's right.
That's
That's
weird,
right.
but they had blue tarps all over the windows, remember?
Hmm. Yep. They like
So,
their blue tarps over
we're
there, I
not
guess.
crazy, you guys.
No,
This stuff
no,
is
those
cr
damn blue
that
tarps.
yeah, but in the frats, they can get pretty crazy, and in fact, there's, some crazy stories about how some other students have died that are questionable, that
Sure.
are ruled off as or, accidental, and it's like, "No, I don't think so,"
Right.
but
Teresa adds, yeah, it was remodeled in 2000. So, yeah, that would
oh, okay.
make sense. They would have refreshed it all then. Um, Mitchell says he doesn't think it's the frats. I've been wavering on this, Mitchell, but man, there's just so much weirdness with the Davids. This fantasy, supposedly or allegedly, that they had in high school. They went to the same high school in Boise. And that's a very strange thing to have, some kind of mass murder fantasy with your buddy. In high school, okay, but now you're in college together at this frat, Sigma Chi, and you're still talking about this. Like Barry, the David B. I mean, he was supposedly the most obsessed with it. And so I just find it really tough to ignore it. It's
Yeah,
just the fight there, supposedly, that happened. If that even happens, we don't know. And then the issue Loach had with Ethan for multiple reasons, like Xana, he wanted Xana and she was with Ethan. So Loach has plenty of motive there. If he was all, allegedly taking, you know, performance enhancing, substances, then maybe he was all, there's that rage issue that they talk about. And I've done podcasts on like the ones that suffered from that, like Aaron Hernandez and Chris Benoit, and some really terrible situations. I'm not saying it was like that. I'm just saying that like
right,
they
right.
get amped up.
Yeah,
And so I just think that, and the 4chan thing just haunts me, because the 4chan posts, and I know some people don't believe anything in the 4chan stuff, but I'm saying that there were things in those posts. It wasn't even a month after it happened. I think it was December 9th, if I remember, talking about nicknames of all these people that we didn't know about at the time. And then later, of course, we knew that Ethan was E, and that's not a hard one to guess, but he had like Mads, like different nicknames, and then
right,
talked about Loach, Dirty South, and Barry, and all this, and called Jake, Maddie's boyfriend, Rogaine, because he was going
yeah,
bald. So they had all these nicknames and stuff in the 4chan post that at the time we didn't really understand. But then once you start knowing who all these people are, it's like, wow, this is like real, like this could have some, realism here. I don't know. But, and then talked about 19 minutes is how long it took to go there, do it, and come back, including the walk. And that just haunted me because the Banfield video is just about 19 minutes, which would have captured the entire walk there and walk back. Because at 3:13, we see four of them in that silhouette in front of that spotlight, walk, or like a brisk walk or
right,
jog right past it at 3:13. And by the time they would have got back to the house, allegedly, that would have been about 19 minutes from when they started. And that's too weird for me to not believe something
right,
is there. 19 minutes, not 20, 19. That's like very precise. Talked about that they had their phones on autoplay on YouTube in their rooms, so they would never be figured to be there. Funny that they think they would have enough sense to do that, but Koberger, the criminology PhD candidate, who would know damn well that your phone tracks every move you make, they claim he took his phone with him to do this, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, I
But
actually looked that up, and he was interviewed and denied from Moscow police. I believe it was Moscow, or was it, Pullman police, but it was a month before. So they kinda knew a month before, "This kid's weird." They might have looked into him and said no because he's looking into the corruption of the police, and so
yeah,
that could have put
somebody
a
mentioned
target
in
on
my
his.
comments. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, somebody mentioned in my comments about that very subject and said they would have probably had Koberger's DNA from passing the background check.
yep,
I never even thought of that. I've
yep,
always thought the Pullman PD was the start of this thing. I did a video on it like a year and a half, 2 years ago. It's in my playlist. It's about the Pullman PD. I did a couple videos about them and the Idaho State Police and that fiasco in Bonner's Ferry. I mean, Idaho has got one hell of a trashy background. Let's put it that way. I did want to add this here. Mitchell, again, great comments. He doesn't believe it's the frat, but
it's
we
kinda
can
like the
all
game.
agree to disagree.
Yeah, it's like the game of Clue. You can't X off that box until you know that's not how it happened. So you can't mark off the candlestick until you know the candlestick wasn't used. So
That's true. That's true. So, so yeah, if you guys want to like the video, if you haven't already done that, subscribe. And Alicia's channel there, Misleading Evidence, you give her a like too. These are really not done for any sort of income because I think it's like $3 or $4 I think from the doing these lives, and it's fine. I mean, I'm not doing it for that. I do it because I like it, and so it's it's all good. It's all good. But let's see here. Jethro says exactly 100%, and so he's in agreement with what we're talking about. Um, I think that yeah, Teresa's talking about her long comment. Wow, this is I think the longest comment I've
yeah.
seen. But yes, she's great with the comments. So thank you, Teresa. You're fantastic. So thanks. You go good stuff. You and Mitchell and man, the some of the people from that do this. Oh wow, this is my friend, my former coworker Dawn. Thanks, Dawn. Says Pete, you are so awesome. I used to do training. Dawn was my assistant that used to help set the classes up for me. So Dawn, that's awesome that you're here. Dawn and I just recently saw each other, unfortunately, at the funeral of our former boss, which is a sad occasion, obviously, but it was so good to see her and some of the other people I haven't seen in like 2 years. So here coming up in May, the end of May, will mark 2 years since all this insanity happened to me. So, but good to see you, Dawn. That's in here. That's awesome. Hopefully, I don't scare you off, but I'm glad you're here. So Dawn says she misses those days. Yeah, those were some good times. Those were some good times. We had some interesting things. There'd be some good stories to tell in my new series for the members. But Dawn was we were doing a class one time and this guy was being a real jerk. And I could do a whole masterclass storytelling on this guy, but he was being a jerk and obnoxious. We used to have water pitchers on the table and glasses, and he took a fork and was like clinking on his glass and called her a waitress. And I thought she was going to haul off and deck him. She kept it together, but I know she was probably gritting her teeth the whole time. So yeah. And I saw her son grow up as a little kid. Now he's like, he could play in the NBA. He's super tall. He's super tall, but he's doing so well, and he's a man now, and that's just fantastic. So very cool. Amy saying good afternoon. That's great. Yeah, Dawn's talking to her at homes. Oh, Dawn, you're killing me. I used to do a video every year of all the disgusting places I used to have to go in as a building inspector. I'm talking about rats. I'm talking about cockroaches, like the most disgusting things you've ever seen. And I used to put them in a little story or a little like PowerPoint to music, and I would play it. The guys just loved it. So that was always funny. Not sure what happened to Alicia there. Hopefully she's all right. But yeah. All right. So let's see. Oh yeah, I know, Mitchell, what you're talking about. What I'm saying is I don't think that those college kids were involved in any of the wet work. What I'm wondering is because they were so entrenched in that party favor atmosphere that maybe they got caught up in it too, and they somehow got involved more so for lookouts. Maybe they were part of the cleanup crew, don't know. But I do think that there was some overlap with, there's too many theories in this case to say that one of them isn't a possibility. That's what's so weird about this. You know, most cases, Alicia, you see an obvious, you know, it's like, oh, okay, like the Murdoch murders, you know, like,
Right.
oh, he got rid of her because, you know, he didn't want to pay her, you know, that kind of thing. But this one is like, well, it could be this, could be that, could be this. You know, I know Drip Drop was talking about people landing on the on the third floor deck. I'm not dissing on Drip Drop because I like his stuff, but he's out there. But that one, that was too much. Like paragliding in, you know,
Right.
that's, I don't know about all that. I mean, Decor probably could have done it because he was a tremendous athlete,
Yeah.
but yeah. So yeah, it's fun to debate this stuff, and I think that it's good for us to have differing opinions. It's good to ask questions because that's how this stuff gets brought up. And that's why, you know, I started looking into the trafficking side of this, Alicia, because when I found out, I watched a live that Alana did over Truth and Transparency. I give credit where credit is due. She was talking about a lot of stuff. And this came up about Detective Gooch at the Idaho State Police being involved in the, you know, the helping the victims of you know, trafficking.
Hmm.
And so, and that she was the one who one of the two that interviewed Dylan, and that was the only Idaho 4 related interview she did. What do you think of that, Alicia? Just on the surface,
Just from what
make you
you,
wonder.
yeah, and maybe she didn't interview anyone else because it didn't go anywhere. Um, but yeah, very interesting. It does bring up the fact that there is that stuff going on around there. So
Very much so. I
yeah.
mean, I dug further, and I found out that Detective Vicky Gooch is a very busy lady. She works at the South office in Meridian. She's a college professor of criminal justice
Oh wow.
at two different universities, Boise and Western Idaho State, I think is what it's called, so, or Western College, something like that. So two different universities, plus a state works for the state police, and she's involved in their cold case group. So
Wow.
she does cold cases. So it's like, how the hell is she having any time to take a break and interview Dylan Mortensen?
Right.
And that's why I think there's a reason she was there. I have two obvious, what I would feel would be obvious conclusions to make. Is number one, she was either expecting Dylan to maybe, or wondering if Dylan had had any involvement with that or knew people that were doing that. Or maybe she was a CI and she was very well acquainted with Dylan because of that. And maybe that's why she was there, because she knew her. Or that she maybe rescued her, because 6 women
Hmm.
were rescued in that operation, but they were all older than her. So I'm not saying it happened like right then.
Right.
I'm just wondering. I'm throwing ideas out. I'm not saying anything. I'm just alleging that maybe this is the tie between Vicky Gooch and
Mhm.
Dylan Mortensen. That's all. But
Yeah.
the operation she did was in Ada County, so Boise, and that whole area, because Nampa is like rampant with this stuff. I know we talked about that last week. That place is really bad. It's west of Boise, about an hour, and Meridian is between the two. So it's an area where this stuff is going on big time. So maybe through that she may have met Dylan. Maybe, who
Yeah.
knows? I just think it's a possibility. Or she was concerned about her. I mean, it could be an innocent reason
Right.
or a positive reason. Like, I want to make sure this girl is okay. We've heard that's going on over there. You don't want to make sure. And
Right.
I'm not saying that Vicky Gooch had ill intentions. I'm just saying it's odd to me that she was there unless it was related to her work with trafficking.
Mhm. Yeah, I
So,
agree.
yeah. And this task force went from February of 2022 to the middle of September of 2022. So 2 months before the crimes happened,
Hmm.
this, I'm not saying that this is related. I'm just saying in a case of 1,000 coincidences, here's 1,001.
Right. Yeah.
This thing wraps up 2 months before that happened. Xana's mother and Maddie's stepmother were arrested in September on party favor trafficking
Mhm.
issues, like serious stuff, all in this time. In addition, while this is all going on, again, we're supposed to believe these are not related. The Pullman Police Department was being investigated for various assaults on female arrestees in the car. I mean, like nasty stuff with these guys. I'm talking like upper people. They were all forced to retire
Wow.
or they were going to be prosecuted. So they hightailed it out of there. The guy that interviewed Koberger for the internship was the chief over there at the time.
Oh.
This was in like August. And then he goes to right after that interview, like a month later. Again, coincidence. He goes to WSU as their chief. And WSU is the one that found the car at the Steptoe Apartments. At the end of November, they found it before Koberger's name even came up.
Mhm.
That's very interesting. He would have known what his car
Yep.
was. He would have
He
probably
would
had
have
his
had.
DNA.
Yep.
They would have had all kinds
They
of
are
stuff on him.
didn't like him because he was looking into fraud and
Yeah,
corruption.
exactly. If his specialty was in digital forensics and you had a whole office full of offenders of that, the most vile things, the last thing you want to do is have some geek in there finding this stuff. And, he's just weird enough to maybe go above you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's where I have always thought this started, was in Pullman, but who knows? I don't know. It's an interesting thing to ponder, because people have always asked, how did Koberger get on the radar? Some have suspected it was a federal thing with the FBI, something that maybe happened in Pennsylvania. We know there was that woman that they found right before he left, or right after he left, I think, but she was there for like a year, and he was suspected in that, but there was
Yeah.
nothing linking him to it, and they had a good alibi.
Yeah.
He was like hours away.
Yeah.
So that didn't go anywhere, but we heard there was a grand jury and his parents had to be there. Don't know exactly what that was about.
Yeah.
So there's a little weirdness over in Pennsylvania. So I'm wondering, could it have been there that maybe he got on the radar, or was it just he walked into the Pullman PD to do this interview and he just checked like you said, checked all the boxes of the next Lee Harvey Oswald?
There you go. Yeah. Hey, can we rewind for a second because you were on
Yeah.
something good that Emily was called And the three went over, the guy and the girl at Emily's house. What was his name again? Peck.
Lynden Beck.
Lynden Beck.
Beck, right.
And the girl. But who's missing? Where's
Oh, that's
Hunter?
right. I did get off on a tangent.
We
Yeah.
kinda stopped right at a really good point that Lyndon
Yes.
did not see Hunter at the apartment that night or evening. He said he was either in the bedroom or he could have been at his
His
own
apartment.
apartment,
Yeah. How do you
but he
not
never
remember
saw
that?
him.
That was the same day they talked to him. He didn't remember from the night before, like it was 40 years ago, you know? I mean, come on, dude. He said he was
No,
either in the bed or he was, like you said, at his apartment.
but
Totally bogus.
he actually did not see him, and that Hunter had gone over before them, and he was there before they
Yes.
got. So
Yeah,
when did Hunter go to the house?
that's right. Was he,
We don't
he
know.
could have very well been there the whole damn time.
Yep, yep,
And like you said, he didn't have a legit answer for that. Like he went from he was in the bed to he wasn't even there. He was at his apartment. And then, like you also said, that between 8 and 9, they were awakened and then they got their stuff together and went over there. So it wasn't like we had breakfast,
yep,
we watched some Murder Metal Mayhem, that kind of thing. It was,
yep.
we just went over there.
And Hunter
So
was
that
actually
leads
over
me to
there.
believe
Yeah,
around 9ish, they were there
and
and Hunter was already
Hunter
there.
was already there. Yep.
He got donuts maybe and coffee for
Well,
everybody. Who knows?
right. Yeah. He had to stop by the donut
He's
store.
very
But
possible,
on the audio, we do hear, I thought you were my brother, or I thought you were my bro. Was
right?
that Ethan to
Or
Hunter?
Hunter, or
Just,
Hunter his brother.
yeah. Oh,
Because
yeah.
I've had people in my comments cast a lot of shade about him. Maisie couldn't stand Xana. I mean, there's all sorts of weirdness with the Chapins. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but
No,
the
but they
Hunter
do call
thing,
themselves twins now, which is just
that's very
so
strange.
weird.
That is very strange. I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. You got this guy who's not accounted for in the time that this, according to Lynden Beck, the time it happened. And this cop doesn't say anything. To me, I would have been cuffing him at that point because if he was over there, where were they? I mean, he didn't say we were out back on the picnic table, afraid to go in the house. He just said we were there. So you mean to tell me they were all hanging out in either outside or in that basement? No, they'd be going up those stairs at a minimum in the living room, but
And
I guarantee you they were taking them on a tour of that house. That's why
yeah,
they had to clean up because
I would like to
everybody
see
was walking
everybody
in it.
else's phones during those times. How many people were taking pictures? But on
Guaranteed.
on the uh on the dash cam or on the cam of Dylan over reacting, I noticed
Right.
everybody else is just kind of standing there with their arms crossed, like we got pulled into this. Can we go? Like it's so weird how nobody really is acting like something happened. They're all just kind of like,
Very casual about it.
oh now,
Could
yeah,
you imagine, put yourself, Alicia, back, I know just a couple of years ago, because you're a young lady, and when you were this age and I was this age, let's say, I would have been losing my damn mind if 4 of my roommates were just slaughtered. I couldn't even imagine that even happening. And like you said, you'd be like shaking, you'd be bawling your eyes out, you'd be freaking out.
yeah.
And yet these guys are just talking about, yeah, they're just hanging out outside. Nobody's being consoled.
It's almost
Nothing,
like they were standing around going, "We've got to watch Dylan do one of her melodramatic acts again." Like,
right? Exactly. Yeah,
oh
maybe they
God,
were
here she goes
taking
again.
bets on how Dylan was going to do with their acting performance.
I like watching body language experts because they always say, make that face or do that action. And you kind of feel that emotion, and it's like, you know, she sits there and grips her pants and pulls at them and stuff, and do that. You're
Mhm.
trying to work yourself up. It's like that's not
Right,
a natural, that's
right,
nothing. That's just a strange thing to do. And to me, it's somebody that doesn't have the ability to feel emotions or empathy acts like people who they see. So when you see somebody smiling real crazy like the Joker, it's because they're trying
right,
to tell you they're happy. Or when
right,
like they overreact and fall without crying, they're trying
right.
to act like somebody who is sad. So,
Exactly.
and
Yeah,
I
and you
think
never
that's
saw
what she was
tears,
doing.
that's
Yeah.
always the
I'm pulling
telltale
on my
sign. Of course,
cloak and so upset.
there's exceptions to it. There's
And this is
exceptions
not
to it, but
normal. She's
99% of the population, I'm gonna guess, cries when or tears when they cry, tear up when they cry,
yeah, and I
So,
mean, legit, when
unless you're
you
a 2-year-old
cry,
doing it for attention.
yeah, when you legit cry that hard, you can't really speak, and it's more in your voice and your breath, and so
Right,
the
right.
drama without the snot and all the, you know, come on.
Exactly.
And it was cold out
Exactly.
there, so, I mean,
That's
any bit
right.
of emotion would've the snot would've started pouring.
Yeah, I'm looking here at some of the comments here. Oh,
Sure, there's some good ones.
sausage biscuits. Wow, that's a good screen name. That makes me want some B&G, buddy. I watched the entire body cam footage of just the kids and didn't listen to a word anybody was saying. I just watched it and it's very bizarre. Hunter Chapman knew his brother was dead, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, I watched a lot of body cam stuff when I wrote a short story called One Night with the Blood Countess, which was my fictional depiction of Countess Bathory in her jail cell and what it would have been like for a new jailer to have to work the graveyard shift guarding her. And so I wanted a lot of body language, so there wasn't much dialogue. It was more of their body language was telling the part of the story. So I watched hours and hours of these guys picking this stuff apart. And so I also key in on that. And yeah, she was doing all kinds of self comforting type gestures. She was nervous. She was doing all kinds of stuff that is very indicative of lying, very stressed out for the
When you
wrong reasons.
yeah, when you're
Should have been stressed out for, her
when you're
friends
trying
being
yeah.
dead. And it still doesn't explain for the life of me through all of this nonsense, Alicia. I don't understand why nobody was talking about Kaylee and Maddie. Their cars were there. They're not there, or are they? I mean, for God's sakes, it's another flight of stairs. I'm sure somebody there was capable of climbing one more flight of stairs to just see what was going on, knock on the door. I mean, something. And we know from the Amito Black, there was another welcome mat outside her door in red stuff. So whoever did this or whoever went around and did the tour, which I guess is what happened, walked in it and tracked it all over the damn place. And the only thing they figured is we're going to all be questioned of why our footprints are in this,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So we got to clean it up. And
Well,
that's what they cleaned up for, not for any other reason.
Hunter
It's
gave
my
the
guess.
unwarranted statement of, "I only went in that room, I didn't go upstairs." Well, why would he say that? He wasn't questioning.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, that would be the first thing you would think
and yeah,
if you actually walked in and saw that. Now, of course, he's claiming she was passed out, which is the most asinine thing I've ever heard in my life. I mean, nobody could say you walk into a room that's like 10 by 10 or 10 by 12 at the most, and there's a 6'4" dude on the bed with, according to the sergeant that was there, Gunderson, couldn't see his head,
yeah,
and a woman his girlfriend on the floor with 67 stab wounds. And you're going to go in there and with a straight face say, I thought she was passed out. I checked her vitals and his fingerprints would have been, like he would have
Well,
had red stuff on him. Like,
there
it doesn't
was
make any
no
sense.
there was no spot on the floor that he couldn't have stepped in red stuff to
Exactly.
get to her. It was covered.
Unless it
So,
was cleaned up. Unless it was cleaned up.
he had to have tracked stuff out. But, Dylan, in one of her interviews, said she saw Xana without pants on, so she admitted seeing Xana laying on the floor.
Wow. Look at this here, Alicia. I don't know I can't imagine this could be the real thing here, but I should poo-poo it though, because I do think I had Saeed in my chat like a couple of years ago, right after I did a video about him on the Banfield. But
Oh, yeah.
that was kind of creepy. But this Dylan Mort, I should be on this panel. Yeah, if you're the real Dylan, yeah, let's have you on a panel. I would love
Yeah,
to
let's
talk to you,
go.
but
And yes,
if
please.
you've got legitimate reasons, for these questions we have, I'm all ears. I mean, my ears are covered right now, but trust me, I have ears. So, and Alicia's probably got ears behind her hair there. So
No way.
she doesn't have ears. That's the only way to
'Cause
get
I'm
through a
a
live with
mermaid.
me.
I'm a
That's the
mermaid,
only way
guys.
to
No,
that's the only way to get through a live with me is you got no ears, so you don't have to listen to me.
no, I just have little bits
Uh
back here. No, I have ears.
so let's see here. Where are we at on the time? I just want to be mindful of that. Oh
No,
wow, we're at 10 after already.
and we could keep going.
Time just zips
I know.
by on this.
It
But
sure
we got
does.
a little bit more time. I did want to talk about Jack Katovich. He's the third Jack, right? We got Jack Decor. We got three of a kind: Jack Decor, Jack Showalter,
Walter.
and Jack Katovich. And then there's Jake, who is Maddie's boyfriend, the one that they called
Oh,
Rogaine. So the three Jacks. Jack Katovich was Sigma Chi. He had a sister, Liz. They were from Washington. Dad's a CEO somewhere. Not to say that that's bad. I'm just saying they come from wealth, and they're both at the University of Idaho. I don't know what sorority she was in. I believe she was with Kaylee, but I'm not sure because
mm,
she was at the grub truck and she totally snubs her. It's weird. Um, she was in that group that was just totally ignoring those girls. So Jack was number 9 on the grub truck video, I've been told, allegedly.
is
The
that
guy with the number
9?
9 jersey,
Yes.
the
Okay,
guy that goes like this.
number 9. Yep.
Now, why was he doing that when Maddie was there? Either she's going to be asleep soon, which seems kind of odd to have to gesture that to somebody, or once she goes to sleep is when it's on.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to come to Jack's defense here on this part of the grub truck. There has been countless speculation. I know I've been part of it, so I'm admitting it, that I thought he gave Maddie something. He has something in his hand that's white, and
Mm,
he goes up to where Maddie's standing, and it's right by her face.
okay.
I looked at it in slow motion, and what it is he's standing there waiting on food, and it's his ticket.
Oh, okay.
And
That
he
makes
goes
sense.
up to the counter and he hands the guy the ticket. Maddie's right there. I mean, anybody that's thought that, including myself, it's completely warranted because it really looks like that. And that's why I always wondered. I almost did a video on it. I would look like an idiot if it was all about how he gave her something and what was it and all this. But that's what put me on the track of, well, what if they were all given something somehow?
Mhm.
What was in that food? Did Gower put something in the food? Like, who the hell knows? So I did want to back it up to Katovich. If that is him, if that's him, number 9, I don't know what's up with this dude, But as for slipping or something, it didn't happen.
All
It
right,
didn't
cool.
happen. Then he gets his food. He's got like two or three orders and he scampers off with his
Okay.
buddies. So, so I'm just saying with him, you know.
All right.
So we got somebody else here saying he was number 9. So yeah, I don't know who number 8 was, but I've seen enough stuff. Um, yeah, Laura Jones brings up a good suggestion, or just saying, "Hey, Maddie, you need to go to bed." That's possible.
True.
That's definitely possible. You know, that's what makes these lives fun, is we get people's input. We can't always get everybody's comments up here, but here's Mitchell again. There's a lady at the grub truck that walks by the trash can and appears as a suspicious item. Yes, just that I said that about Jack with the putting something in Maddie's mouth. However, there's all kinds of weirdness. You're right, Mitchell. There is somebody with something suspicious. And then you got Joe Vito. That's the big dude. He's got a Coke can behind his back and he's doing all sorts of weird gestures with it. It definitely looks like some kind of signal. If they knew this was on Twitch, anybody with a phone could have watched him give a signal with his hands. I'm not saying that happened. Allegedly, this is just what I'm wondering, if Joe Vito was part of it. I've also heard that Joe Vito has some sort of job involving the police,
Oh.
like DEA or something like that. So that makes me wonder, was he, undercover? He was older than the rest of them. I don't know what the hell he was doing there. But he also was working for the University of Idaho. So these people it's like an
Wow.
incestuous relationship with all of them.
Right.
So,
Mary Tyler says magic mushrooms, and yeah, I agree that I think maybe Dylan was on something that was making her see things. Because she said, "I don't know what was real. I don't know what wasn't real." And I have uh somebody that works with somebody, and she decided to do that and go for a walk, got hit by a car and died. So
oh,
she
wow.
was too, I
Yeah.
mean, they can make you do
Hmm.
crazy things. She either didn't see the car
Yeah.
or she didn't think it was real, or I don't know. I have no
Right.
idea.
Right.
So,
Here's sausage biscuits, another good one. Don't you remember that's a gesture that basketball players do to mean lights out? I'm not a basketball fan. However, you're correct. I do remember seeing that. So thanks for that. That's a good. So that's even weirder because he's got, I don't know what kind of jersey he had on, if it was a basketball or it looked more like football.
mm,
But nonetheless, if that's what he meant, that's pretty ominous. Pretty ominous. So yeah, Mitchell says hugest mystery. Oh my God. Yeah, I mean it's nuts. Here we got Charisma Craft. That's a good one. Joe V was a property manager. He said he gave girls a walkthrough. He called into Birdie one time. That's cool.
mm,
That's cool. I saw Birdie did a video on the trafficking too, which is interesting. I did one early in the week, and then I saw he did one. So that's really good. That I think that needs to get out there, but I don't see people really flocking to see the videos, at least on my channel. The couple I've done got like lukewarm responses, but maybe the people just don't care about it. But I do think it played into this. I mean, people that do that stuff are typically doing the party favors and trafficking. It's like hand in hand.
yeah,
So if that house was supposed to be a big house to get party favors, then it also could have been a central location. Maybe that's what Hunter was doing, is scheduling the females to to take care of people, because there's pictures of them on these vacations, on these yachts. And I wonder, because I watched some videos of women that were trafficked, that were taken on vacations and forced into this situation because they didn't have any money, to pay for it by
hmm,
prostituting themselves while they were on the trip,
yeah,
which is obviously very messed up. So it's unfortunate that these women fall into that. And I just hope that more people were thinking that that could play into this. And I know some have, but I've just thought I would get more of a response. So hopefully people wake up to that, because I do
Yeah,
think it
definitely.
has something to do
I
with it.
think it's just something that's not put out there much, so it's not on people's minds, you know? And true crime
Right,
alone is hard, so try to bring in something that they don't talk about. We don't see survivors, and it's not
right,
something, that pulls emotions because it's kind of still just like this idea. We know it's happening, but, you know,
right.
yeah. So,
Yeah. Uh, Charisma Craft says Bethany said they paid rent daily. So that does sound like some sort of like
okay.
sleazy motel type
Very
situation, right?
strange.
Very strange. All right. Well, I know that we've got about 13 minutes or so, and I would love to end it with some stupid criminals. I got some really good ones. And Alicia and I plan on doing this as an ongoing thing. I'm not sure about every Saturday, but we'll do this as long as she wants to come on. We'll see you guys on the next one, and I'll have this shortened up, just Idaho 4 discussion, as a replay on the channel, because a lot of people don't watch lives. So I found that doing that, I get a lot more mileage out of it,
Mhm.
because other people can watch it that don't watch lives. They are watching a live when they watch it. They're just not watching it done live. That's all. So I hope to also draw in new people that see, wow, I like the way he does these lives. So now I want to check it out. And maybe that's some of you guys here today. Who do you got over there, Alicia, with you?
Oh, this is Pandy. He's spoiled.
Pandy?
All of my animals are very spoiled.
Yeah. That's how my wife is with animals. Yeah, they're spoiled rotten. So
Yes.
excellent. Well, Jethro Troll, thank you, my friend. Says great chat. Thank you,
Yes.
Pete and Alicia. So thanks, Jethro. I appreciate that, my friend.
Thanks,
And
Teresa.
Isles of Shoals, good to see you here, and thank you both. But we'll see you guys next time. We'll have more conversations. So we'll take it easy, and I'll see you later.
All right, bye, guys.
You made it to the end. Thank you, my friend. You helped the channel grow. Don't forget to hit the like button. My little Ganja queen, hit it like it's green. Oh, yeah.